Hey, what's going on? Navid is here. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur and creator of Virtual Summit Mastery. And we help people just like you exponentially grow your email list, influence, and revenue. And for this session, I'm really excited to have Amanda Dake on board. She is a marketing automation expert. She has helped a lot of people with their funnels and automate their processes. And she was also a certified ClickFunnels partner and kind of one of the first, I think, to get access to this. And, just kind of a backstory. I met her actually at a mutual friend of ours, his event, Charles, in San Diego, and then I kind of learned more about what she's doing, and now we connected again to do this session. And specifically, we are going to talk more about how you can build kind of a real relationship with your email subscribers, and as a result, turn them into buyers. And that's kind of what we're going to get into here today. But first of all, warm welcome, Amanda.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So kind of start this off, since maybe some people, they haven't heard about you before. Maybe this is a new introduction to kind of my audience and the people coming on here. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of how you got your start into, I guess, funnels, and also building your own email list and helping other clients doing so as well?
Sure thing. Back in 2015, I went to the first Funnel Hacking Live hosted by Russell Brunson. And it was my first networking kind of event ever. I had never been to anything like that before. And I went, and at that event, he offered certification for ClickFunnels. And as you know, ClickFunnels had only been around for about 6 months at that time. It was really fairly new as a product on the market. So having not been to any kind of conference or event like that before, I was foreign to the entire pitching from stage, networking, all this stuff. It was all so new to me. But when he offered the opportunity for certification, I decided to go for it. And I did. And that's really what propelled me as an authority, an expert in this industry. So I got to travel to Boise, Idaho to ClickFunnels to work directly with Russell and his team, learn the platform, learn the strategies. .com Secrets had just really come out not long before that. Expert Secrets had not come out yet at all. And so that just gives you a little bit of background, like how long ago this was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So after I got certified, I just started building funnels for people. It just was like, it took off like crazy because it was just so new. Facebook was really different back then. It was really kind of simple, or simpler, to run your own ads and things like that. And so I just started working with clients with a one-on-one basis, generating leads for them, helping them grow their lists. At the same time, I was doing some of that for myself. And here we are, almost 4 years later. And, I've just kept learning, kept working with Russell and the team at ClickFunnels. I'm a speaker for them now. And I don't know, networking and relationship building and list building and all of that just kind of became part of my entire business model.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's some time ago. That's kind of when ClickFunnels just got started. It's quite new, and now they are like,
Yeah.
hundreds of millions or whatever. They're growing really fast. But obviously, we are going to get into some of what I shared there in the beginning here about the relationship. But I wanted to kind of hear what's working for, I guess, you and your clients when it comes to list building, email marketing. Anything specific that stood out? If anything has changed across the board, like from when you started till now. What do you have to share there?
I think, some of the basics still really work well. Lead magnets, downloads, PDFs, things like that are still valuable, and it still works. I think something that has been really popular lately has been a challenge, right? You opt in to somebody's, 3, 5, 10-day challenge. So that's been really effective at list building. And video has been very popular, in my opinion. It has been a long time, but I think people are just becoming more comfortable being on video. And as consumers, we're more used to watching a video instead of just downloading a guide or something like that. So really anything, in my opinion, that is a little more interactive. And again, back to building a relationship, building that know, like, trust factor, which you can kind of do with a download or a PDF, but I think that's why the challenges in the videos have been so successful, just because it get you with that person a little bit longer than just the download.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually before I talked to Sax Buckler about challenges. He's a big fan of that as well. Obviously, online video is on the rise. With summits, we are doing all video. If you're on any of my summits, you see we do a lot of video, we up in the quality and stuff like that. But it's not really about that only. It's like, just a relationship, going live on Facebook, going live on YouTube, whatever it is, like posting videos there. And you can obviously combine that with a PDF. Like, you can do a lot of stuff with this. So what do you have to share there? What's something that's kind of you're doing for clients or yourself now that you see kind of can increase that kind of the touch points to, obviously people are signing up to your list, but then turning them into eventually buyers, faster. There was something you shared also when we chatted in the pre-chat before this session that I know you wanted to kind of get into here, how you're building this and how you're kind of changing your approach as well.
Yeah. So whenever I am, for myself and for clients as well, when we are really focused on building that list and then nurturing that relationship with the people that subscribe, I really love using a Facebook group. And there are a lot of strategies that go along with growing and nurturing a Facebook group, but I use the Facebook group in conjunction with list building because it allows me to connect kind of more intimately with that group than say I would to a cold ad or people that don't really know who I am or what I'm doing. So if somebody has entered my ecosystem, my list, and they've joined my Facebook group, I can speak to them at a different level than somebody that I just want them to download my landing page checklist or whatever else that it is that I'm giving away at the time. So I think in my Facebook group, that's where I do a lot of live videos. I do some recorded videos. I do group calls, special invitations to be able to connect in a group setting with those people. And so not only are they building that relationship and that trust with me as kind of the curator of that group, but they're also kind of building a relationship with the community as a whole. And so that's really what we're doing. We're cultivating a community. It's not just about me, right? And what I can offer them or what I can pitch them later. It's really about just building the community of people like-minded, wanting similar things out of the group, they have the same questions, they have the same struggles, they have the same hurdles. And we're all there together, supporting one another and helping each other grow. So Facebook groups to me after the opt-in are really underutilized, really, and very valuable.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to share. I mean, walk through this so everyone gets, okay, so you have an opt-in page. What do you kind of typically put on there? And then walk people, obviously you're so much into funnels. So let's break this down for people so they get what the flow is.
Yeah,
so
let's
first
break
we have
it
an
down.
opt-in page and then the thank you page. What do you put on there to get them on? Do you sell there? Do you just kind of put a group there? What do you do?
Yes. So the basic premise is get them to opt in, right? Email address and name. Sometimes I'll add the area for a phone number, but I don't make it required, right? So it's a bonus if they put it in there, but they don't have to put it in to submit the form. I'm giving away a guide or a PDF download or possibly a 3-video training series for that general opt-in. It's very low commitment. It's very, delivers a lot of value, right? But it's just something to get them interested in what I'm doing and what I have to say. From there, that's the opt-in page. It's just super simple. And then from there, it goes to the thank you page. On the thank you page is just like, hey, thanks. Check your email for the thing. I don't ever give the download or offer or whatever directly on the thank you page. I want them to check their email. And I'll send them a text message as well. That's another little kind of trick that I have. If they gave me their phone number, obviously they'll get that. But I want them to check their email for the deliverable because that's just going to help propel my open rates and my deliverability whenever I'm sending additional emails out later. In addition to saying check your email for the thing, I also say, and go here to join my free Facebook group. And that's it. There's no other call to action. There's no pitch. There's no sale of anything. There's not even a mention of a product that I have to offer. It's just all about getting them to just take that next small step with me. The first step was giving me their information, which I'm really grateful for. The next step is, hey, why don't you join our community? And then from there, that's it. That's a 2-step funnel, and that's it for that one.
Yeah, I like that. That's so simple. And I do also do that. I never offer to actually download, at least most of the time, never offer a download on the page. It's better to do it usually within your email. So they open that, and then obviously sometimes also encourage them to reply to the email, so that kind of whitelists it or whatever. I mean, you can do the best you can. And I have some instructions for this. The only kind of exception when I don't usually sell on the first page, when they opt in. The only exception is, I guess, summits. To some extent, we are doing that because we're leading with so much value with opting in for a summit. And then we might have you can upgrade to an all access pass, but still, people kind of know with the instructions that they can access things for free during the actual event usually. So that's kind of the only time I might, have a sell right away, because we're turning the people into buyers. But otherwise, I love your approach. It sounds super simple. So what do you do? Okay, what do you do from there? I mean, obviously you have a sequence set up, and you encourage you engage with people in your Facebook group and stuff like that as well, I assume.
Right. So we won't get into the Facebook group strategy, because that's a whole other summit.
No, I talked about, actually, just as a side note, I've talked to Arne Giske. He's big on the Facebook group thing. So I did talk to him, and he shared some great strategies on that. So we won't get into that here, but definitely check that session somewhere. But we will talk about the email and the engaging with your list, relationship building here. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So once they opt into that list, so I have everything as automated as possible. So from the text message that goes out, if I get their phone number, to the email sequence that they go into once they opt in for the first time onto my list. Typically, the first email is just the download of the deliverable, right? Whether it's access to the training series, which I will usually house in a membership area that they can access for free, but I still kind of have that locked down a little bit. So I like to be able to, it feels like they have exclusive access or something. So, so that first email is just all about the deliverable. And then the next part of the sequence is 5 to 7 emails of just really kind of like if you've ever heard the term soap opera sequence, it's of tells your story a little bit, but you leave them hanging every email. So just wait till you hear on the next email what happened next, right? Or some way for them to want to continue to open your emails and to read more about what you're doing. And it's important for me in my strategy, I don't sell anything in those emails either. So the purpose of those emails is just to get them to engage with the emails, whether I do ask them to hit reply or or post something up in the Facebook group. I always remind them to join that. That'd really be my only call to action in those emails. I just want to nurture legitimately that list and get them to know a little bit more about me. Now, at the end of that sequence, then I'll start throwing in a little bit of calls to action, whether that would be depends on your business. But for me, if I'm doing lead gen like that, it would probably be for more of a high ticket program, and I'd want to have them book a call with me, right? So I would usually send them to either I have a really simple 3-step funnel for booking that strategy session, and where they go from a video to an application to book the call. And so typically in this sequence, I would go 5 to 7 emails. And then towards the very end of that sequence is whenever I would ask for the call to action that I want to have happen, which in that case would be book the call.
Yeah, this actually, I've definitely heard about it. I use actually soap opera sequences. I first learned about it from Andre Chaperon. I mean, he has the autoresponder madness, fantastic. If you're just into email marketing, you can geek out there as well. But Russell Brunson is talking about this. He definitely gives also Andre credit for it. I think Russell simplified it, to be honest. It's a little more complicated to do what Andre is doing, but Russell has a simple process. I think, is it in Expert Secrets or .com Secrets? He breaks that down. Is it, which book is it?
Oh, I think it's Expert Secrets.
Yeah. All right, yeah, but either way, it's really powerful, I think, to just have a simple sequence. And I've seen people using. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this too. But I've seen people like having call to actions to can be to webinars, like towards the end. I've seen people have it to
Hmm.
what you do for an application kind of funnel or something like this. There's many
Yep.
options for it. That's why it's so versatile, and you can actually build this out a lot longer. But I think Russell talks about around 5 to 7 emails, which works well.
Yeah.
So is there any kind of to break down a little bit how yours go? I guess for kind of the emails, what's the first email? How should people think about this if they want to put together a simple sequence like this?
I think a lot of it really depends on what it is your ultimate goal is for the person coming into your list. So if you want to just sell a course, if you want to book a strategy session, if you want to sell a physical product, it just really depends on what your kind of customer journey looks like. And everybody's can look different, and that's okay. But for me, if I want to sell, say, $1,000 course or access to a membership, then I'm just going to nurture that list. And in my email sequence, I'm going to touch on the problems or the hurdles that I think that most of my ideal clients have. And I'll usually relate it to some personal experience, right? So they can begin to relate to me as a person. I'm not just some robotic email sequence sending this stuff out. I like to actually connect with the people on my list, and I want them to feel like they can connect with me. Um, I know that in our internet marketing industry, certain people and experts seem inaccessible or they seem kind of untouchable. And I really strive to not ever come across that way. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to have phone calls or email exchanges with every single
Yeah.
person that comes into my email list. But I also want to make sure that people know that I value the fact that they are following me, that I value and I'm grateful for the fact that they gave me their email address and have entrusted me to, act accordingly with it. And so I really keep that in mind as I am going through the sequence. And I really do want to solve their problems, and I really do want to make their lives better. And if I can do that through some automation and through some of the offers or videos or trainings that I have, then that's my goal. And that's what I want to make sure that I can get them to keep following me through the sequence. And even through some of the other strategies involved with that list once I've curated it, to make sure that, yeah, they're going to get some value out of just giving me that first email address.
Sure. Do you have some tips for people who are maybe they're struggling to, get their sequence out there? Because I mean, it's may sound simple. It's like 5 emails, 7 emails. Okay, let's do this in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, right? So, do you have some tips for that? Kind of getting those out there, and actually, making sure you are, clear on your content and what you include in those emails as well. I mean, most people probably watching, they're not like trained copywriters, right? So, what do you have to say
Yeah,
to
no,
them?
I'm not a trained copywriter.
Right.
One of the things that I struggle with a lot is writing copy. Now, it's like I have to be in the zone for it. And I fight it a lot. I just don't ever want to get in the zone for some reason. But there are some books that I've read that help, and some swipe file templates and things. Sometimes it's easier if I have just kind of a model to follow so I can just fill in the blanks. I have some software that can create email sequences. You just kind of, it asks you questions. Like if you've ever, this might be dating me, but these used to be these books called Mad Libs, and they would be sentences with blanks, and it would
Yeah.
say put in a verb here, put in an adjective here, or whatever, and then you'd read the story afterwards. So I have an internet program that does something kind of like that for
Oh, wow.
sales copy, emails, and things like that. It's pretty helpful.
Wow.
I think the main thing is just doing it. And even if you know what your lead magnet is and you know what the first email to deliver that is not difficult to create, right? But
Yeah.
it is kind of overthinking and really analyzing what you should be doing for the first sequence. I think if you just start and just maybe even write one email at a time and don't think that you have to sit there and do the whole thing at once, just depends how you work. Some people, like for me, I want to get in and do it all at once. Maybe some people want to write an email or two and then walk away and come back to it, refreshed. There's a book, I have it on my shelf over here. It's Invisible Selling Machine. It's really good for inspiration for emails. And then I think that quite some time ago, I don't know who it was, but you see it probably more often than not, that you can find these swipe files or these free downloads for that kind of inspiration for those email templates. And so as long as you can, maybe if you're just really stuck, look for something like that and you can just personalize it. And then as you get a little more comfortable or start noticing some analytics, some stats, some open rates, click rates, things like that, you can make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I wanted to share around this. I mean, I think it's what people struggle with sometimes is kind of the structure once they have that. I mean, the swipe is not meant to be copied. Some people might think that you find a swipe and I just use it. That's not the case. You need to kind of customize this. And we give even our students in Virtual Summit Master like fill in the blank for, let's say, summits to do it a lot easier, because I saw people struggle with this, and that's common. I mean,
Right.
I'm not a copywriter by trade, but of course that's one of the most important skills I've studied over the years, so I can write, good emails. I can make money from my emails and stuff like that. So definitely becomes important, but it's more kind of as we are talking about here, building the relationships and actually caring, maybe doing even some things that kind of don't scale initially, like to reply to people who get back to you or encourage replies, get on a phone with them. Is there anything like that? Kind of, I mean, you mentioned you have the application things that comes after this kind of soap opera sequence. Anything you want to break down there? So actually taking people from this initial relationship to then obviously kind of getting on the phone with them and closing them, hopefully for one of your services or products.
Mm-hmm. So I utilize the Facebook group a lot for something like that, where they can have some more personal interaction. So it's a more give and take, right? It's like, okay, I've got your email address, but it's going to take a little bit more than that for me to really start interacting with you on a more individual basis or small group. So I encourage participation in that free Facebook group, not only with just me, but with other members. In the email sequences, though, yes, if I want to book a call with them, I will ask people, even now in some of my emails and even in my daily broadcasts, if they are struggling with something, if they need help with something, if they have any questions, I do encourage them to just hit reply and let me know. And it's exciting whenever people actually do that, because number one, it shows me that they're actually reading through my emails. And then it also shows me like they need help, right? And that's what we're here to do, is we're here to help the people that are on our list. So, but yeah, even today, I still encourage them to reply, and I will personally reply to them. If they book the call, now that's a little bit different, but there is a kind of a pre-qualification process put in place, because like many of us in this space, we can equate being busy to being productive. And so for me, like, my calendar was totally full all the time. I didn't have any kind of gateway for people to book a call. Like, it was on my site and all over the place, like, book a call, and like they could just go do it. And so I was on the phone a lot with people, and it was not equating to any kind of sale or anything else. They just wanted to pick my brain, right? You might hear that a lot from people, like, can I pick your brain about whatever your expertise is? And so that's why I put just kind of a couple of little things in place to qualify the people that I'm going to be getting on the phone with. And so really it's just, 5 to 7 question application. It's not too heavy. It's not, I'm not asking a bunch of personal questions or anything like that. It's almost just like, okay, you've given me your email, you've read my stuff, we're interacting in the Facebook group. You think you want to work one-on-one or group or whatever it is that I'm offering. Let's do this, but I need you to do a couple more things for me to get to that place, right, where they can actually have the calendar link and book the call. And then from there, like, it's on, and hopefully by the time they get to that call, they know enough about me and how I operate that they feel comfortable enough to, ask me the right kinds of questions, and I can ask them those right kinds of questions too, to make sure that we're a great fit to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have even also a high ticket for kind of virtual sign mastery. So I know this process. You kind of need to refine things, tweak things to get the right people on these calls so you don't waste a lot of time on phone calls, especially as you're doing it yourself. We kind of without a sales team and stuff like that is, I mean, even with the sales team, it's even more important to know that it's actually getting the right people for the sales guys. So that's great. So I wanted to kind of also share something around kind of what I've seen some people do recently. I mean, for in the PS of your emails, you can even say, here's a few things to how I can help, how I can serve you. And if you have different offers, I mean, I think that's a great way. Even some email providers, you can do some, dynamic things. You can, make sure, show certain things depending on, what stage they are in their business, what tags they have, what product they have purchased. So I think stuff like that is pretty cool as well, especially as kind of they go through this soap opera sequence that you mentioned, and then maybe whether or not they book a call. But some will not do that. So how do you nurture them on an ongoing basis, right? After this is over, you said you have the Facebook group. Anything else? I mean, in terms of not getting too much into the Facebook group, but like talking about the emails here specifically, what do you do when they have gone through this and maybe they haven't bought from you yet?
I make a point to email my list on a regular basis with a story or some type of value or some kind of offer that I have coming up, whether it's a webinar or a training or a live event or a summit interview or something, right? And so most of my daily emails, and I'll say daily, but I'm not as strict on the daily email as maybe I could be. But I will say I send a solid 3 a week to my list. And that allows me to continue to nurture them, continue to build that relationship, because, only about 10% of people that come into your ecosystem are ready to buy now. So we really want to focus on that other, maybe 45% that are considering it, but they're just not there yet, right? And it's going to take a little bit more than 5 to 7 initial emails to get them there. Yeah. So I like to stay what I call omnipresent, whether that is through some Facebook advertising, whether that is through the Facebook group, and whether that is through the email list. And if I'm doing anything that's kind of important, I like to send a text message out too. And I think, that might be an underutilized piece of technology. I know it is for the people that I work with, that they don't really think about using text, but text is really, really powerful. And, another is the messenger bots, which we aren't talking about here either. But, once you start getting these people on your list, there's so many different ways to communicate with them. And email is just one of those measures.
Yep.
But anyway, I like to do a broadcast email out to my list at least 3 times a week. And I do utilize also, like you suggested, the footer. Here are some different ways that we can work together. One, I always have my Facebook group link in there where they can go join for free. If I have a high ticket application program, which I always do, then they can always just click that and go to that funnel. Or if I have a webinar or anything else, I keep that in the footer of every single email that I send out.
Yeah, these are some great tips, because people are, first of all, people are not consistent with their emails. And the other thing is people have the limiting belief that, send, 3 emails, wow, but you said even, daily, right? So actually something I wanted to get into a little bit, I think that could be an interesting conversation too, is to, I've seen digital marketer with Ryan Dice. They're sending like a value-based email in the morning, at least most of the time to do that. And then in the evening, I think they're sending like more of a sales pitch. So, they say it work in any market. So what's kind of your philosophy? Do you think that's kind of a good strategy if you make more money with it? Or, if you can, should you aim to get to daily? And how do you plan out these emails? Do you sit down in the morning, write it? Or what's your strategy for actually being consistent with this stuff? And does it actually generate more money, or not just annoy the people on your list to send more frequently?
So I would not see email as being annoying, because and just like get that out of your head right now. Yeah. People opted into your list for a reason. And if they don't want to receive your emails anymore, there's a little button at the very bottom of every single email that says unsubscribe. And they can click that if they don't want to receive your messages anymore. And if they do unsubscribe, I would say don't let that be a discouragement to you, because that just means those people were never going to really buy from you or join your program or do whatever. And so let them go on their way, and you just focus on the people that are swimming towards you, right? The people that do want your help. So how to stay consistent with it, I think first is just that mindset of like, you're not bothering anybody. They opted in, they want to hear from you, they want to learn from you. So send them your knowledge, right? It's okay. I am working really, I don't know. I'm not that strict about it, but I am working at being more consistent with my emailing. For me, it is a little bit tough because I am so mindful about what I want to send out. I don't want to just write a pitch or whatever, and I write all of my own things. So some people are very fortunate. They hire just the copywriters and they'll do it all for them. But for me, I'm still really trying to personally connect with the people on my list. And so I want to share something personal with them about, something that happened to me, whether I was working with a client in my Facebook group or with my kids or whatever it is. I want to share something personal that can relate back to what it is that I do or how I can help them. So I think it's important to, whenever you're writing these emails, what I've started doing, which I'm really excited about, is so the people on my list right now will get the emails that I send out right now, but the people coming into my list won't. So what I'm doing is taking the emails that I send out as daily broadcasts, and I'm putting those into a long-term nurture sequence. So now soon, though, I'll send the broadcasts, but they'll also be getting the nurture sequence, which is, I guess you could say, it's a repeat of content that I've already broadcast out, but the new people coming on the list have never seen it. So if that makes sense, I'm kind of dual purposing the content, which I think is, and I also, if the emails are insightful enough, or like, in my opinion, good enough, I will also use them as social media posts. Because some people won't open the emails every day, and that's okay. Like, think about how many emails you get every day. I don't open everybody's email every single day. I might save up, certain people's emails to read whenever I just have time to sit and consume what it is, right? So I will repurpose the emails that I send out and use some of those as social media posts or posts in my Facebook group as well.
Yeah, no, this is super powerful. I think, like, with these kind of, you can have almost have like an evergreen newsletter. I talked to kind of Bastian of Wild Audience about this too, and he is a big proponent of automating things. So basically, if people come in, obviously they get some kind of nurture, but then they will be put into an evergreen newsletter. So that will actually be, let's say, blog, because people come in, you share your blog post that you publish today, the people who come in tomorrow, they haven't seen that blog post, and that's kind of wasted, right? So you gotta keep promoting this stuff. And also, I mean, the mindset of, start with at least one email a week as a minimum, I think, but then maybe aim towards doing 2, 3, and then maybe if it fits what you are doing, right, you do daily if you can. But at least during that promotion and stuff, we're definitely doing daily. Even for like summits and stuff like that, we might even send 2 emails a day, because some people in the morning, they might check out things, and then in the afternoon, we might want to remind people or share something extra, maybe have a link there for checkout, let's say an all access pass or premium pass or something like this. So there's so many opportunities there, and I think, maybe a handful, like 1 or 2 will be annoyed, but most people, they are not gonna complain about this. They are simply maybe gonna unsubscribe if they don't like what we are offering, but otherwise they just stay on. And as you said, with the open rates, yes, I definitely don't open every single email for everyone, but I might stay on to kind of check out what they are doing, right? And that's kind of what I see from people. When you send frequently, you reach more people, and of course, we always want to also monetize our list, and so build a relationship and monetizing. So that's kind of my experience with it, and I'm glad you kind of brought this up here, kind of turned this. I mean, that's kind of the best way, really, to build a relationship, in my opinion. So thanks for sharing that.
I agree.
That's good. Yeah,
absolutely. I think one other thing that I didn't mention is really how important the subject line is. And the little pre-header in the email. So which is that little, barely a sentence that you see in the, right whenever you see the emails from. I am very mindful of what that is. So the subject line is super important. And then the pre-header, which is just that little preview, is almost as important as that subject line. Let me
ask you around this before we get into that. And that's actually interesting. I wanted to, subject line, of course, is super important. You're going to have a good subject line that's then you get more compelled to open. But the pre-header, I think in Active Campaign, which I'm kind of using as my main one, I can set that. But maybe some email providers, I'm not sure how that works. Like if it works in ConvertKit, maybe are using, what are you using for setting this up?
I use Actionetics, which
Okay.
is the native feature inside of ClickFunnels whenever you have their full suite. And so, but I think by now, most email providers allow you to customize that.
All right. Yeah. And so just being really having a good pre-header. So that's basically what shows up there in your inbox, let's say, or on your mobile, and then it comes up. So usually it's the first line of the email, right? But if you don't have a pre-header, then it just shows that, right? So the pre-header takes over from that first line in the email. I think at least that's without any knowledge about it. I think that's how it should supposed to work, right? I haven't really used it too much, to be
It takes,
honest.
so it's really not associated with the content of that email.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a preview of what's in
Mm,
that email. And something else that I've stopped doing, and I don't know, I need to test it out a little bit more, but I've stopped
yeah.
using personalization in the emails
Oh,
because when
interesting.
people opt in, they might not really give their name correctly, or they might not capitalize it or something like that. And so if I try to use a merge tag and they're like, "Hi, Amanda," it might just be like, "Hi, A," like if that's all I
Yeah,
put
yeah,
in
yeah.
whenever I opt in somewhere. And so lately, what I've been doing is just saying, "Hi, friend," or "Hi there," or whatever. And so
Ah,
um, I haven't really tested it. I sent one today actually, and I'll look at those rates and see what the
yeah,
difference was. But if
that's
that
nice.
makes sense, like I don't want it to be a personalized email if it's not really that
I see
personal.
what you mean. I
Um,
definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, actually, I had a conversation, but this is not this is like how you personalize your name and stuff like that. But there's other things you can do in your emails, like with write message. You can personalize on your website, and you see kind of a thing. You can definitely. I'm a big fan of segmentation and stuff like that. But that you can still do. Obviously, it doesn't matter if what the name is. That's kind of, but I agree
yeah,
kind of to some extent with I'm that myself. I might put in N or whatever. I'm
yeah,
something random when I opt in. I mean, sometimes I just want to check out the funnel. I mean, but most people, I would say, also, if at least kind of in my market, if they check out some of our stuff, they might be in completely different markets, and they are usually serious. They do put actually in their
yeah.
real
They'll use
name.
their name.
Yeah, they do that. But I agree with you. Like if there's marketers, a lot of them, they just put in random stuff because they just want to funnel hack you or check something out.
Yeah,
But
see what's going.
that's
Just get
that's where
on
we're
your list
living.
and see what you're doing.
Exactly. But yeah, so I mean, is there anything else you want to share around this? I mean, I think this has been some great tips here for people. We have laid out some relationship building stuff and how you can take people through this journey, which is really important. But just kind of last before we wrap this up, anything else you'd like to share with people here?
I mean, I think it's just really important to connect, like just connect. So my entire business is based on connection and relationship building and really serving at a high level. And if I know that the content that I'm providing, whether it's through an email or a text message or a Facebook group or whatever, if I know that that's coming from a place of serving with pure intention, then I feel like I'm going to win. And so is my client or my person on my list or whatever. And so I just think it's really important to want to deliver that value, whether you're selling dog treats or you're selling coaching or t-shirts, right? You want to provide a really nice experience and value to the person that's entrusting you with not just their email list, but hopefully eventually their credit card number. So I think if we approach things as if we were serving ourselves or serving our moms, like,
Yes.
and really just nurture that, I think that everybody wins in that situation. So
Yeah. I
I don't
I
know, it
couldn't
might
agree
sound a
more.
little
I
mushy
couldn't
or
agree more
soft,
with you
but
there.
that's how
That's
I
good.
do it.
Yeah, that's great. So I just wanted the last thing, where can people connect more with you?
You can find me. I have a Facebook group, and I have something called the Funnel Kitchen, which is all about relationships and connection. So, not just about funnels. And so, really, funnelkitchen.com is probably the best place to find me.
Awesome. And if you're watching this and got some great value, leave a comment below. Like share maybe what you are doing currently. If you don't have an email list, what are you gonna implement from this? There's some, simple things you can take action to, and maybe some things you will do a little bit further on here as well in your journey. But I think there was some great stuff here, different things around email marketing and how you can build a better relationship with your list. So thank you so much, Amanda, for coming on here and sharing so much value with my audience.
Thank you. This is awesome.